Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to install remote start, in my case, on this 2018 Ford Explorer. Installing remote start on most late model Ford vehicles is the same process from year to year and model to model, but the key is making sure that you order the right part number. So what I'm showing you today is exact for multiple 2018 Ford vehicles, and I'll have a list of them in the description and the part number in the description that you need to order from Ford. Basically, it's a pretty simple little kit. This takes under 5 minutes to do. The key is you have to have the computer and the software to enable remote start in the body control module and the instrument panel of the vehicle. It's very simple. I'm going to show you how to do it using a free program called FORScan. So the things that you'll need is a laptop computer running the Windows version of FORScan. You will need a wired OBD2 interface. You can use the cheaper, I recommend the BB Fly wired interface. I used it for years. It has a switch, a little switch on it. There'll be a link in that. After years of using it, I finally kind of upgraded a little bit. Now I have this nicer, a little more expensive pass-through device. It is a better device if you're going to be doing this type of thing often. Here's the part number for the kit that we're using. In the box, it just comes with an owner's manual. There are no installation instructions, which is why I'm making this video for you. There's this harness right here, some stickers, some zip ties, and the module itself. Okay, so it's very easy. The actual physical installation part, the part to enable it, it's not hard. You just have to have all the stuff that I show you and follow my instructions. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, I would just take it to a Ford dealer and pay to have them use IDS to activate the remote start system. Okay, so one prerequisite is that you must have a hood pin switch for the remote start system to work. If you have a base model Explorer, you will not have a hood pin most likely. So we're going to have to add one, so you can buy the Ford kit. It's pretty expensive though. There's a harness you have to run from outside to the inside, and then it plugs into the hood pin switch. And then you have to add a pin to a connector on the body control module, which is under here also. I'm going to show you a slightly easier way to do that. So what that pin is looking for is ground. So when ground is sent to pin 14 in the connector, it thinks the hood is closed. So if we look up under our dash, here's what we're going to see. There's this connector here. And the kit you buy from Ford will come with 3 wires. You'd want to use the orange wire. We're going to take apart the connector, and we're going to find pin number 14. You can see, which is the switch hood ajar input. And we're going to add that pin to pin 14, and we're going to run it out to the hood pin. Alternatively, and I do not recommend this, but some of you will ask, if you just run a ground to pin 14 all the time, so just run a wire out of the BCM and ground it, it will always think the hood's closed. The problem with that is you will not have the security function of someone opening your hood and the alarm going off, number one. Number two is it creates a safety hazard if you do that, because if someone is working on your car and with the hood up, it should disable the remote start. But if that's grounded, you'll be able to remote start it, and you could cause injury to someone working on the car. So you do need to connect that to a hood pin switch. But you don't necessarily have to use a Ford hood pin switch. If you have an old alarm system where that came with a hood pin or something like that lying around, you can use it for a lot cheaper and run it yourself. But that's just something I want to talk about real quick, because not everyone will have a hood pin, and that will prevent the factory system from working. All right, we're under the dashboard here. You can see we've got our OBD2 port right there. We have a couple of 7mm bolts that we're going to remove. This is just going to make it so we can remove this plastic shield under here and make life a little bit easier. Alright, I've just got it turned out of the way. That's far enough, because we just need to be able to see the back of the connector. I'm trying to make sure you can see this. It's just so simple and so quick. So there's a plug back here. It just plugs right into the back of the data link connector. It's called our gateway module. So you can see there's just a clip on the bottom of it. We press and it pulls straight out. Just so you understand the theory of what we're doing, we're just putting in the T-harness here. So we're literally going to plug our new harness into the one we just removed from the back there, like that. And then this is just going to get plugged right back in to the back of the OBD2 port that we just removed. Okay, so that just leaves this connection hanging down here. I just popped this piece of plastic loose, and this piece of plastic, they just have clips that are holding them in. It's able to kind of pull the wiring harness up to here. And down in here is a good place to zip tie the module. So I guess I should mention that if you're just doing what I'm doing and installing just this module, this will allow you to control the remote start and security system with just your factory key. We'll just press lock, unlock, lock on the factory key, and it will make the vehicle start. You can add on an exterior antenna, and then which extends your range, but not with the factory remote. That only extends your range if you use the optional one button one-way remote, or you can get a two-way remote system that will allow you to have, confirmation via an LED and a beep that the vehicle started in a longer range. The factory remotes actually work pretty well. They do have a decent range, as long as you're within sight of the vehicle. So I'm not going to be spending any more money to do this. This will work pretty good for what we're doing. So like I said, I'm going to plug this in here, and we'll get it zip tied up inside of here to where it's not going to flop around, make any noise when we're driving down the road. And then we'll be ready to start programming it. Alright, so I'm in the middle of adding that pin to the harness here. You can see I've got the harness pulled down as far as I can get it. And it's got two sides to it that will release and come out. So pin 14 is the fourth one down right here. And you can tell because there's an little 11 right here. You count down to 14. So I've added this wire, you see, it's purple with green stripe on that 14th pin. And then now I'm ready to slide this back in here. We'll slide in like this, and it will click in place. Make sure all your pins are lined up. You can see we got our new one that comes out here. We're going to run that to our hood pin switch, which will ground, like I said, when the hood is closed. And now I can go ahead and get everything pushed back up into place and reconnected. Okay, also in this box is a little jumper, and this jumper is kind of important, and the instructions are kind of wrong about it. Basically, whether you need the jumper or not is dependent on the level of the factory security system in the car. So that's why I say you should wait and try this first, because if it does not work, you just need to install this little jumper on the black pins right there. One other thing we have to do is set up our shock sensor sensitivity. So this is primarily a vehicle security system first. That's why it's called the Perimeter Plus system. It just also has remote start. That little button right there, if you turn it all the way counterclockwise, it lowers the sensitivity. If you turn it all the way clockwise, it increases the sensitivity. So how you can test that, just kind of show you here real quick. So basically, if we lock the doors, and you have to wait about 30 seconds. Okay, and then once it's activated, to test it, you can just lightly tap. So if you have the module secured to the metal under the dash, what they say to do is just to bump the steering wheel, and if the horn honks, that's like your initial warning. That's how you can kind of set the sensitivity. Obviously, if you set it too sensitive, if someone drives by with a lot of exhaust, or you have a thunderstorm, it's going to set off your alarm. So I'm going to reach down and tap the box here. See, I just barely bumped the box, made the horn honk. So if I hit the box kind of hard here, you can see that set the alarm off. Yeah, so that set the alarm off. So I'm going to make sure, you can set it however you want in your car, but I'm going to turn my shock sensitivity pretty much all the way down, because I don't like false alarms caused by stupid things. Okay, so I went ahead and plugged my OBD2 device into the port down there. I'm going to go ahead and put the key in the ignition and just turn it to on, but not start. And I'm going to open up FORScan on my desktop here. Alright, so I've never connected to this vehicle before, so I'm going to go down here. I'm going to hit the connect button. So the prerequisite is that you do have to have the full version of FORScan, and you have to have what's called an extended license, and you can get one either by paying for it, or you can get a trial license, 3-month license for free by following the links in my description. So here's the first question it gave me is, do I have a 2019 or 2018 model year? Click 2018. Okay. And what it's going to do is it's going to go through and find all of the different modules in the vehicle. So this might take a little while, but once this proves out, I'll be back with you to show you exactly what we need to do. Alright, so then it's going to ask you if you want to save the profile for this vehicle. You can, but I'm just going to click no. Alright, then we're going to want to go into the module programming, which is this little icon here. Alright, and these are all of the modules, and I really would not, if you don't know what you're doing, do not mess around in here. Alright, so there's two things we need to change. We need the body control module and the instrument panel control module. So if you like, right here we see body control module, and there's one that says as built format and one that says module configuration. You want the module configuration. So we're going to click on that, and then we're going to go down here and we're going to hit the play button. Alright, so what we're looking for is remote start. Alright, so we've scrolled down to the R's and we can see remote start. So if we look at remote start, right now it is currently disabled. So we want to double click on that and change it to enabled. Then we'll click the check mark. Alright, now the remote start durations, you can set that now. I'm going to set it to 15 minutes. It's as high as you can go. And then these start durations after that are more for like the subsequent, if you remote start it more than once. Remote starter parking lights. So do you want the parking lights to be on when the remote starter is activated. I do, so I'm going to click enable. Okay, also in the body control module, we need to set perimeter alarm to enabled. And then that is all we need to mess with here in the body control module. So once we've changed the features we want to change, we're going to hit right. So you click right, we're going to hit the check mark. Okay, so it's just writ those things in the body control module. Now it says please cycle ignition off, then back on. So we're going to turn it all the way off. And then back on. And we're going to click OK. All right, so now we're done on the body control module. We're going to click the stop button. And we're going to go back up here where it says configuration and programming and click that. Now we want to go down here to the IPC. Now there's three choices. We want the one that says just module configuration. Okay. So we're going to double click on that. And we're going to hit the play button. All right, now again, there's a bunch of options here. We just want to scroll down to remote start. Okay, so we're in the remote start section. We want to switch it from disabled, double click on it, to enabled. Oops. Okay, so remote start, enabled. Okay, remote start climate settings. So what that does is that will allow you to have the AC and heat come on automatically when you start the vehicle. So we want to enable that. If you have heated and cooled seats, you could enable those. I do not. Rear defrost, I obviously have that, so I'm going to enable to where it will automatically turn on the rear defrost if it's cold out. And the steering wheel, again, if you have a heated steering wheel, you can enable that. I do not. So that's all we need. The main thing is that we're enabling the remote start in an instrument panel, which will allow you to control these settings. So again, we're going to write the changes. And there's our old values. Click the button. It's going to write, and it's going to do the same thing. Tell us to turn it off and back on. And we're going to click OK. Alright, so once we have everything back together, it's time to test it to make sure the remote start works. So remember, it's lock, unlock, lock. Okay, you can see it works. If you turn it off, you would hit lock, unlock, lock again. You can unlock the doors. See, I still have everything apart. It says to drive, we can just insert the key, turn it to on, and it has taken over. Alright, so is kind of a lot of work relatively if you're doing this on a base model Explorer, but if you want the factory remote start, that's what you need to do to add it. You could go with an aftermarket like a Fortin system, which I've used in the past. Might be a little bit easier, but technically you need a hood switch with that system as well. In fact, you may have to install the same hood switch for it to work. So if you don't have a hood switch, it's something you need with your remote start. Hopefully the video was helpful. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. I'll have a link to the part number that I used for this. Again, it applies to multiple 2018 Ford vehicles. All of the modules are pretty much the same, but they are programmed specifically for the year and model Ford that you're dealing with, and they have slightly different part numbers. So you'll want to look up your specific application on the Ford Accessories website. And then you can take that part number and go find the place that has the best price. Alright, until next time, we'll see you later.